But you touched on Nana there, just briefly there. I want to ask you, Neeks. He's someone I feel like since he's come in this summer has caused a bit of divide. Where do you kind of stand on what your feelings were when you initially brought him in, but then after seeing obviously these early couple of games, what has your opinion improved or worsened? What's your kind of feelings now?
All right, let me land. And I know the social...
Get ready to clip this.
He's going to clip it because he clipped me already, made a little YouTube short. The keyword is just short because I'm not going to say took it out of context, but it doesn't give people the full analysis of my position on Onana. So listen to this, but take what you want from when it gets clipped up. I expect it. I ain't got no problem with that. When we needed a new goalkeeper, David De Gea had to go. David De Gea is past his best, and his best was right up there. 2018, for me, best keeper in the world over about a 2-year period. And over, I would say, about a 5-year period, it was definitely top 3, top 4 with the likes of Oblak, Courtois, and of course, Manuel Neuer. But he had to go. He was making his basic mistakes based on his own ability. So just shot stopping and those kind of things, which is he's supposed to be peaking at. He was making those mistakes. He's never been great command in the box when it comes to like catching crosses or from corners, set pieces, etc. And he hasn't been good with the ball at his feet. And the way that Ten Hag wants to play and the way that football is going, you want a keeper who can play with the ball at his feet. And that limited us in a way last season. And I say limited us because of the way that Ten Hag wants to play, but to an extent, it actually played to our strengths as a team because I don't think we've got enough players from the back going forward who are comfortable with the ball at their feet. So David De Gea passing it to them doesn't actually bring the best out of them because they don't always want the ball. The likes of Wan-Bissaka, for example. Even Varane is not top class on the ball. He's good, but he ain't top class. Shaw, Martinez, I think those are probably the best in our defence who can do that. What Onana brings and what I thought he would bring, he has brought. He commands his box, crosses comes in, he can catch and punch. Playing out from the back, as we saw against Arsenal, nobody even bothers to press him because they know that he's going to bypass the press. The problem is when you don't press him, well, what the players that he's able to now pass to, what can they do? And Arsenal backed off, said, all right, pass to those players who aren't as good and we'll just get it off them. And that's the drawbacks to bringing Onana into this current team. Not the drawbacks to Onana, but the drawbacks to bringing him into this current team, that you don't allow his best attributes to be realised because the players around him can't benefit from it. They can't take the ball and turn and start attacks in the way that you want him to. So effectively, by bringing Onana, you've actually weakened the goalkeeping position in the immediate because the team can't benefit from it. And his goalkeeping, his hand, like his shot stopping, ain't as good as you really want it to be. And of course, it's nowhere near like peak David De Gea. Onana, for me, long term will be a benefit. Mm-hmm. But right now, the jury's out. Because if you can't stop the ball going into the back of the net, regardless of what you can do with the ball at your feet, that is going to be where the criticism lies and where the judgment's going to be. Claudio Bravo came into the Man City team, was brilliant with the ball at their feet. Couldn't stop the ball from going.
Do you not feel like that might be just teething issues? And I want to ask you as well, because you had Ramsdale come in, and I remember he's kind of like a ball-playing goalkeeper as well, if you like. But you always feel like when a new goalkeeper comes in, there has to be that kind of settling period. We've just had Vicario come in. I remember first game, he looked shaky, but since then, he's kind of looked solid. And I know there's going to be mistakes. There's going to be moments where you kind of do look at him sideways. Now you've obviously brought Riot in. What do you kind of make of their situation? Do you think
it's part of...
should be kind of just something they ride through?
Yeah, I think they need to ride through it. First of all, I mean, it's part of any transition, right? We saw Tottenham under previous managers go to a back five and they had good fullbacks, but not wing backs. And we've seen Arsenal go to playing out from the back and we had good, solid defenders, but not ball-playing defenders. And so there is a conversation there to be had about whether or not you should have gotten on first. Maybe you address having more ball-playing defenders before you get the goalkeeper. But at the same time, he is considered one of the top goalkeepers and is thought he's probably going to go somewhere. We need to strike now, which is why we've gone and got David Raya when we've still got Ramsdale. But we can't miss the opportunity. Someone's going to take him. And like you said, I said straight away when we played you guys, I thought, we're just not even going to press that goalkeeper because he is so good. And Ramsdale's good at hitting the ball into space. If you cut up the pitch into grids of squares, he can drop the ball into a square, and that's very good for a goalkeeper. Onana can actually pick out... Onana and Raya, I was going to say, but Onana, both of them can actually pick out a player. You know, it's like almost what you would have considered a central midfielder's level of quality pass. He's flicking the ball over Nketiah's head. He is very, very good at that. But you will have to, the only concern I would have if I was a United fan is how much this transition period damages his confidence. So by the time he gets those ball playing centre backs in and those ball playing defenders, now he's got a full back five. He's now actually maybe regressed as the actual goalkeeper. So maybe there's a bit of a problem there. But a lot of it is the natural transition. If you believe in Ten Hag, and to be fair, I'm enjoying laughing at United, but a lot of the problems that are being thrown onto Ten Hag at the moment are not problems of his own making. They're things that are completely out of his control. So, you can't really... He's the person who's going to get the brunt of that frustration. But I think, like I say, these things are natural teething issues and you have to just be able to go through it. Aaron Ramsdale's been clipped up a bunch of times whenever he does make a save. And whenever he doesn't make a save, and the bigger the reputation is that you come in with, the more people are going to laugh at you.
Look at someone like Ederson. And for me, it annoys me when people talk about Ederson like they do Alisson. Alisson, for me, is the best keeper in the world. And he is a level above Ederson. Ederson is spoken about as one of the best keepers in the world. I'm not even saying that he's not. The goalkeeping has changed in terms of what you want from him. But the reason why Ederson doesn't get clipped up in the way that a Ramsdale might or Onana has, because he's made errors like this before. Yeah. But because Man City will still score 4 goals and win the game 4-1, it's a side note. Because maybe it's the first goal you can see when Man City come back and win the game. And additionally, maybe he's facing half the amount of shots that a Ramsdale or I say Ramsdale and Onana, not on the same level, but other keepers who've been, clipped up or whatever, criticised, they're facing half the amount of shots because of the way Man City play as a team. So his deficiencies are being hidden, and his benefits to the team are being highlighted and being exacerbated. And I think the ideal, because Onana for me is never going to be Alisson. Alisson for me, shot stopping is brilliant, distribution is brilliant as well, command of the box, etc. But I'm hoping that we can get to a stage, and he can get to a stage where he's the Ederson for us. Yeah, I know you're going to make an error, but what you bring to the team far outweighs the one error that you might make every 5 games or every 10 games. That's not going to cost us. But we're just not there. If he makes an error, we lose the game. If Maguire comes on, he makes an error, we lose the game. If Rashford isn't on form, we lose the game. Like, every person right now has to be on tip-top form for us to win the game.
And a lot of that is signings, because you haven't got the squad, you haven't got the bench. We are now, for the first time in maybe close to 10 years, we can have crucial players in our starting 11 be injured and replace it almost at the same level of those players. We haven't had that for a very, very long time. And we're able to be tactically flexible, where we've won games with 2 or 3 different players playing striker. We beat Man City for the first time in God knows how long with Kai Havertz up top, which is not something that we've returned to for the rest of the season, but it's something that's in the back pocket for if we do need to do that type of thing, if we're going to play a game where we're not going to dominate the ball. So these things are all about allowing you guys to be tactically flexible for the longer term. Do you know what I mean? So,
and this is why it's crucial for me that we stick by Ten Hag. Because okay, you get rid of Ten Hag now and you go and God knows. Oh, Onana's not the keeper I want. I don't want to play it from the back.
He's actually recently said, listen, Onana might not be perfect, but he's good enough for Man United. And I think at the moment, he does seem to split opinions, but we've seen Bruno on the United view. I'm sure production have got a clip rolled up for us, passionately defending Onana.
Everything is done for the team. He's being always available. He's someone that's always training hard. He's someone that deserves his chances, and he did well today. He did the job that the manager asked him to do, and we are all happy for him because he really deserves to get his chances. Thank you, guys.
He's been beating himself up a bit after that. He's talking a lot about.
It's not about chances.
That's what I mean.
He's a great goalkeeper. Exactly. He will keep giving us a lot of points, a lot of saves. He hasn't to take any blame for nothing. We have to take the blame as a team that we're going to go through this moment together because we are strong as a team.
You can see Bruno defending Onana viciously there. And to be fair to Onana as well, I think some of the times when I've seen him stood in front of the press, I know even before the Champions League game, he's always come out and taken accountability. And I think as much as you want to see that, at some point you do want to see the performances follow up with that as well, and it to not just be every week you're coming out and taking ownership. But I do honestly like to see that in a player, and it's not the first time. I remember when he was at Ajax, when he was at Inter Milan, the same questions were being asked. Can you play this kind of daring style? Can you actually not make the mistakes you make? And every single time you've kind of seen him rise above it. I remember he came back from a long ban at Ajax, came back, hit form straight away, got the move to Inter Milan, and I remember Ajax were a little bit bitter about how the whole move happened, but gets Inter Milan to their first Champions League in over a decade. So it's like
was brilliant in
every time I've seen Onana be able to answer it, and I'm someone who I think he's the qualities he brings, you don't find those in every goalkeeper. That's why Man City are so lucky they've got an Edison. Liverpool are so lucky they've got an Alisson. And people might say Alisson might not be the great, but the qualities he has, you can't find that elsewhere.
And,
do you know
and
what
this
I mean?
is the point that when you were talking about when our team is ready, so to speak, how is his confidence going to be? My hope is that 27 years old, he's gone through certain experiences like the ban, etc. That a media report here or there, a bad performance, it's not going to knock him like early days David De Gea. When David De Gea came in, he was getting battered physically and in the media for the errors that he was making, etc. And he actually dropped him out of the team for a period, and then he was kind of in and out until he was able to find himself. 27 years old, 28 soon. You hope that Onana can ride out the criticism, and the fact that he's so willing to come out after his first high-profile mistake in the Champions League and take responsibility. When, of course, we didn't lose the game purely because of him, but he owned it. He said, "We lost it because of me." I rate that, but you don't want to hear that every week. You
Nah, 100%.
And again, against us, you guys brought on Maguire and Evans to see the game out. No, that's down to injuries. That's not tactical, and you could Glazers out and all that, not spending the money and all the rest of it, but what's the keeper going to do? Yeah. There hasn't been a goalkeeper that's been successful playing behind Maguire since he's come into the club. Do you know what I mean? So
Evans at 37 or whatever, that's ridiculous. Isn't
Listen, it's a tough situation at United at the moment. And
just chuck us 150 mil, we'll give you Ramsdale.
Wait, I know you said that Ramsdale you finished second last year, but some will say he's one of the reasons why you didn't win it. At back end of the season, he's making some mistakes.
And in the ruthless top club that we are, he's no longer number one. That's what we have standards at this club.
That's what ruthless clubs do. And we'll be seeing what moves United make in January, because Cam's on the FCM. In case you're new around here and you ain't familiar, FCM every Sunday we're bringing you Cams and Mayowa. We're back. We're bringing you some good content. Come chill with us after the final game, and we'll be covering everything that happens throughout the weekend. But here's Cams talking about Ten Hag's situation and what might be happening soon.
Ten Hag's job rides on Marcus Rashford's form, bro. And if his form continues like this...
So you're happy to ride with Ten Hag no matter what happens this season?
We'll talk about what happens this way. That's an exaggeration. No, hold on.
Okay.
If Man United don't make Champions League this season, I'm sorry, his job's on the line, mate. Like, let's get realistic. But you man are talking about end of the season. I'm worried if Ten Hag's gonna make it to January, and I'm being dead serious right now. I'm worried if Ten Hag's going to make it to January. Champions League.
Yeah, I could tell.
You're nervous about that.
Stuck between a rock and a hard place this season, Ten Hag. It could get sticky for him.